Okay, so the question is, how do you determine what the minimum training needed is to maintain fitness? And we don't really have like a straightforward metric or formula to determine this. It's going to depend largely on kind of what the training that you were doing for the fitness that you're trying to maintain, kind of what that fitness is relative to your genetic potential, the volume and intensity that you were training at the fitness that you're trying to maintain. Um, and what that fitness is compared to your genetic potential, which we don't really have a way to know what your genetic potential is, but we can kind of theorize based on how much training, how long you had been doing, that sort of thing. We can kind of get a sense of how close you were to your genetic potential. For you, since I coach you, I know you, you're so new to this, you're nowhere near your genetic potential. I suspect you are asking about a particular level of fitness that you had last year, as opposed to kind of where you're at right now, which we expect a drop. You took a break. Now we're building back up. So all of that being said, you could kind of theorize that, the training needed is somewhere in the 60 to 80% of, the previous training volume and intensity in order to maintain. But again, it's going to depend on what you're trying to maintain and how close that is to your relative to your genetic potential. For you, we know that this pulling back in training load is related to an increase in stress, job requirements, decrease in sleep. So that has to be part of the equation too. So, it's not simply comparing training load to training load. There's this lifestyle component that is having an impact as well. You know, Training volume and intensity are down a bit. Consistency, I would say, is down a bit. Outside life stress is ratcheted up. Sleep is down. I suspect that all contributes to some slipping on fueling. So all of those components are going to play in here. So again, it's like we don't have a straightforward answer, and now we have a less straightforward answer with all of these other variables at play. So as usual, the answer is going to be it depends. In the absence of a straightforward metric, for you, I would say something like maybe 2 days of intensity a week and maybe one long ride per week. You could maybe get away with one long ride every other week to maintain your current fitness. Now, if you're asking about your peak fitness from last year, that's going to be different because you're not there right now. So it's not a question of maintenance. So we ideally want to get you back to that point and beyond it. But in terms of maintaining your current fitness, I think a couple of days of intensity and one long ride, maybe one long ride every other week. You've pretty much been doing this, and sometimes a bit more. I suspect this isn't what you're wanting to hear. You're wanting to hear maintaining your peak form from last year, and that's just not doable. That's not how this works. You build to a peak, you let it come down, and then you build back up and you build back up higher. But sometimes these other life things get in the way, and you can't train the way that you want to. And so that's kind of what we're looking at here. So not a super straightforward answer, but that gives you some idea of probably what we're looking at. And honestly, you and I should probably talk about this face to face, because it's a situation so we can discuss your specific situation as opposed to me trying to make it more applicable to a wider audience.